Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Creators Forum. It is such a pleasure to be here with David Meltzer. I'm really excited about this opportunity. David is the co-founder of Sports One Marketing and formerly served as the CEO of the renowned Leigh Steinberg Sports and Entertainment Agency, which was the inspiration for the movie Jerry Maguire. Show me the money. His life's mission is to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. This simple yet powerful mission has led him on an incredible journey to provide one thing, which is value. In all of his content and communication, that's exactly what you'll receive. As part of that mission, for the past 20 years, he's been providing free weekly trainings to empower others to be happy. I'm going to make sure to put all those links there so people can follow you and get a lot from you. So David, let's hop right in there. I've noticed, I've done a little research into your background, and I want to talk about networking for a minute. What would you consider the best way to connect with the right people?
Well, two things. One, radical humility, and two, strategy. And my philosophy is very simple. There's 4 ways to network, to interact with human beings today. One is in person. It's the oldest and the best way. It still creates the most energy. 2 is something called the telephone, which is also becoming a lost art, the telephone. And then 3 would be email, still pervades as a great networking tool. And then media, which has grown exponentially in an unfathomable rate to an unfathomable size. And when I say media, I mean radio, print, TV, social media. Social media to me is an amplifier of content on all other mediums: in-person, phone, email, and those radio, print, and TV, the traditional media, billboards. Those to me all need to be amplified on social media. So if you first have a strategy of how am I going to address each of those communities that utilize those mediums, then institute what I call an ask and an attract mechanism. So for me, understanding that today most people on average are connected to or have a sphere of influence of an average of 1,000 people. When I was young, on average, there was 4 or 5 people. We had, Minion, we had the golf tournament, we had the card group, whatever it was. If I asked my Uncle Eli to help me out, he would say, I know, my men's group, and there's like 6 people. I could ask my 10-year-old to share something of mine, and he's going to hit about 1,400 people. So we really have to understand that we need to ask. So how do we ask? Well, we ask with questions. We ask by being more interested. We ask with humility. So humility allows us to ask, how can we be of service or value to ascertain not only what we can do for them, but what they can do for us. And so we have to memorize this great networking question, which is one in which shifts the entire paradigm of scarcity to abundance, that most people think that everyone around them is a gatekeeper, is resistance, voids, or shortages to what they want. The minute you change your mindset and shift the paradigm to that everyone, as we were created, is one, therefore, and I have faith in that, esteem faith in that if we truly have faith that we are one, then I look upon everyone in person, on the phone, via email and media as my sponsor. They're there. So if they are my sponsor or power sponsor, then I just need to ask them one question. Do you know anyone that can help me? Do you know anyone that can help me? This is the question of the radically humble. The radically humble will find and look upon everyone they meet in all the different mediums, even ones that didn't exist even a year ago, like TikTok, and they'll ask, do you know anyone that can help me? And that is the secret to networking with credibility, emotional attachment, allowing you to quantify reasons, impacts, and capabilities to share your vision in whatever it is you want to network for.
So in that vein, do you typically look at a single individual to try to reach out to? Like, for example, my little story is that I was getting into marketing. I went from being a rabbi and teacher and educator. And then by living in Israel, which is where I'm at, I saw that the finances needed to kind of, go full force here, and it wasn't happening in the rabbinical world. So I got into marketing, and I really got into Gary Vaynerchuk, which I've seen the two of you have been connected. And so I spent several years consuming his material, learning his strategies, and trying to kind of reach out to him on many, many different platforms until I finally was able to kind of break into his email. And I ended up getting an internship with him and worked for about 6 months. And that's where I learned the craft, and it's really amazing. But is there a way to kind of hyper drive that? Like if there's an individual or a type of individual that you want to connect to? Because look, that took years, and how do
Yeah,
you do it quicker?
yeah, so you did the right thing, and everything comes at the right way at the perfect time. So one of the things that you have to realize is that if you would have had the quicker direction, they may not have been ready for you. That 5 years went by, and Gary built a program that facilitated helping people like you because there was such a demand for it, and then you were in that place in which to get that help. So the first step is that you did correctly is you find the person that sits in the situation you want to be in, right? It's a very simple philosophy of mine. If you want to know where to go, you got to know your what. So once you know what it is, then find the person that's already there and ask them for directions how to get there. That's the fastest, and no dummy tax needed. I mean, if Moses would have had someone in Israel, he could have just asked for directions. We would have been there in a lot faster time.
Yeah.
But he couldn't find. He knew his what, but he didn't know who was there, and he couldn't reach them. There wasn't the communication technologies that we had today. But more importantly, how do we speed up the process? Well, the way that we speed up the process is a 3-step procedure. And remember, time is all relative and everything. So number one, the first step is to take time out of the equation by saying, I'm at the right place at the perfect time. So this energy of being at the right place at the perfect time, it actually increases your statistical success and accelerates you to get what you want. And the second step is to know what you want and angle to that. So and when I say angle to that, that is with the humility that I don't really know exactly how to get there. I don't know. So I'm going to consistently, persistently angle to what I want, and then have faith that I'm going to end up somewhere better than that. So what does that mean? If I'm out there trying to get in touch with Gary Vaynerchuk, I would have, angled to what I want by seeing every single person that Gary posted with him, reaching out to them and seeing if I could get on their shows or they could come on my shows or if I could ask them for help. And there's so many people that people like myself and Gary interact with, that those spheres of influence. And the irony is I learned this methodology of influence through recruiting. I was CEO of Leigh Steinberg Sports Entertainment, most notable sports agency. We would never recruit the athlete. So we would never go right at Gary, right? What we would do is we talk to D-Rock and Tyler and, and Max and Jake and all these people that were around it. And we would help them. We'd see how, and naturally our name is elevated and our energy. And pretty soon Gary's like, hey, I'd like to meet this guy. And it speeds up the process, but it takes faith to believe that you're at the right place at the perfect time, to angle to what you want, and to have faith that you'll end up somewhere better. Utilizing the spheres of influence around the targeted person will accelerate getting to that person, but you have to have faith that it will allow it to happen, that you don't have to force it to happen.
Yeah, that's which leads to the next one: faith and cash flow. How does one continue, I guess, that path? And more succinctly, how does an entrepreneur keep that cash flow steady, especially when they're first starting off, but they're still trying to get connected to the right people in the right network? Like, let's say, my goal is to create content for individuals who are either business owners, CEOs, CMOs, the face of the organization, their business background, but I really want to help kind of do the micro content model, help them create that main pillar content, and then, break it up into micro content. How do I do that when, the main audience isn't necessarily, banging down my door today yet, but I have other things. I have nonprofits coming in and I have other cash flow streams, but my goal is that, but that's where the real money and the real impact and what I really want to do is at. So how do you balance that cash flow versus going through that dream?
So for me, the balance is just math. And there's two things that I need to focus in on. People make this so complex. It's like sports agentry. People ask me, what do I have to do to be a sports agent? I said, you have to learn how to get a client and keep a client. That's it. If you know how to get a client and keep a client, you'll be forget law school, forget business school. The best agents are people who know how to get a client and keep them, period. And it's not easy. It's a lot harder to keep them than even get them. I would say it's like finding the most beautiful woman at a bar and not only getting her to go home, fall in love with you while everybody else is trying to go out with her, but then try to keep her while everyone she meets for the rest of her life is trying to go out with her. That's what a sports agent is. Well, the same thing holds true here. Yeah. It's just math. So let me simplify it for everyone. There's two ways to make it easier on yourself. One is to spend less money. So everyone has a level of investment they're willing to make in themselves. So I know Josh York, at Gym Guys, was willing to sleep in his car to save his first $15,000 so he could build his first business. And, he had his level of what he was willing to invest in himself. Other people call that sacrifice. I don't. I never talk about expenditure. I have investments in myself. It changes the whole energy. I invest in myself. So if I have a business that's losing money, I don't think it's losing money. That's the investment into myself, into the business. And I have the math behind it to say, every $1,000 that I'm, down this month, that investment will be 10,000 by the end of the year, or whatever the numbers in my head would be. So number one, really understand where your level of commitment is to invest in yourself by lowering your costs. And then two, keep on figuring out how you can make the most money. And so the best way is to take what you're doing today and get better at it. If you take what you're doing today and you're twice as efficient and twice as statistically successful, you'll have twice as much time and you'll have 4 times as much money. That alone will allow you to refocus into maybe a new priority, a new venture, a new priority, a new system, whatever it may be. People do the opposite. They create shortages for themselves by not focusing in on what brings in the money or what saves them money. And what they do is they dissipate and dissolve their focus by trying to do everything at once. They try to spend what they're spending, try to make what they make on what they're making today, and try to make the same with something new. That's mathematically very difficult. It happens every once in a while. The blue moon comes around every once in a while. That will happen every once in a while. But a very mathematical way is I'm very focused on how much my expenditures are, the investment in myself, and I focus in on what I'm doing today to double the amount of money I make as fast as I can, providing me more time and more money to build or grow what I want to build and grow.
Awesome. Love it. Okay. 2 more questions. We'll go quick because I know your time is precious, just like all of ours, and I appreciate it. Where has the use of creative been most impactful for you, and how did it help you stand out, either sales or marketing, or meaning where's creative in your mind, and that's been the biggest impact?
For me, the biggest impact of creative is to understand that I am creation. That, for me, the biggest paradigm shift of my life was that I, my genius, my creativity was God expressing through me. That it was just an expression of the truth of God, of source, of whatever you believe. And so creation to me, is just like in a biblical sense. It's the idea of creation that I'm always creating. Nothing, expands and grows. It's all me. I create everything I see. I give meaning to everything I see, and that I'm nothing more than a 3D printer when I'm here on Earth, materializing the ideas and the dreams through that creativity. And once again, tying in gratitude, as you eloquently always interjected, forgiveness for making the mistakes when I was utilizing my powers and strengths in the wrong directions, accountability, knowing the control I have to allow things to happen, and then that inspiration perspective of creativity that I'm already connected to everything. I take a 3-step approach. The law of gravity is going to pull it down to me. The law of Goya, get off my ass, is going to make it happen. And the law of attraction then will fill up that void of what I wanted. That creativity comes through me, not for me or to me.
Wow. Head spinning. Amazing. All right, here we go. Who's your greatest professional role model and why?
My greatest professional role model is Napoleon Hill. I read him every day.
Hmm.
And Napoleon Hill gathered the aggregate intellect, the aggregate education, the aggregate experience, situational knowledge, and dummy tax into Think and Grow Rich. And so for me, studying Think and Grow Rich every day as a foundation to how to do business, because it inspired me to write my books. I have 4 books that I've written. All are inspired by Napoleon Hill, that there's a process that says this, and this is the gold, that you need to know your what. The minute you know your what, you have a mathematical advantage, because most people don't know. You ask them, what do you want to do? What do you want? What do you want to order? I don't know. I don't know. So when you know what you want, there's a mathematical advantage over not knowing. So that becomes a possibility. The minute you know your what is a possibility. Now, Napoleon Hill teaches not only to think about the what in your possibilities, but then he teaches you how to be inspired with creativity, as you stated. And that inspiration takes you from possibility to probability, another mathematical leap, another statistical success, all within the context of our mindset and our heart set, all in the context of how we think and feel. And that's what Napoleon Hill does so well. Then that probability, what he does that no one else has been able to do, you either get 2 schools. You get the possibility to probability school, or the probability to perspective school. The pragmatic, the place that I was in, very low energy, but materialization. Well, Napoleon Hill can take that probability and teach you how to make it your perspective through awareness, through discipline, consistent behavior, and strategy. From the greatest minds and hearts in the world, he's aggregated that data for us. So for me, my biggest influence still today, I read him every day, is Napoleon Hill.
Now I got to get that book and your books.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. I know you had a short time, so I really, really appreciate this. I have a lot to chew on. I got a lot of content to make, to push, to push out of this too, for everybody else out there. And so, I just want to once again reiterate that if you liked what you learned here today, you can continue to learn every week. And I'm going to put the link down in the comments. I'm going to put David's social in the comments too. And I believe people can contact you at your email, david@dmeltzer.com. If you want to buy his book, you want to get his training,
I get
please
my
go
book
there.
for free, so you have to buy them. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. I'll send it to you for free.
Free is a great price. David, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dov.
All right.
I appreciate
all the
it.
best.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.